The commission did not know what they are paid, and because that's what I said. How they came in, from what I know, is they were introduced to the commission, and they met. They were in contact with the lead council. So we came in to be. That's why I said when it comes to how a commission should be operated, there's a bit of that blurry line. How things come to our attention at some point.
I think it would have been a very big concern for the commission or the chair to definitely make a follow-up to know how things we are going, because according to Kurang's statement, it's like we are receiving $1,500 per hour.
Yeah, maybe there's something that was shared, but I cannot recall from the, and I don't want to quote something that I do not.
Thank you.
Do not remember. To be
the forensic auditors, for example. Yeah, lead counsel was in contact with them. I am pretty much sure maybe lead counsel also is working with someone, perhaps with the forensic auditors. In fact, the commission need the service of the forensic auditors. Then it will be difficult for them to take a decision. I think that explanation is clear. Yes. Honorable Jammeh, can we move, please?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Miss George.
That's fine.
No, I find it hard to pronounce that one. Don't
Why?
bring me
You
this.
should pronounce no.
You see?
Yes.
So let's do with the George.
You can call me Miss George. That's
Yes,
fine.
and
Yes.
you know, partly the George are my uncle, so it's easier with me to say George. I would start from the bottom, Miss George.
Okay.
In your statement, you did said it were that is clause 20. You said it were the commission members and the lead counsel who endeavored to write the report from volume 1 to 9. If I may ask, what was the purpose of the secretariat and why were they exempted from writing the report?
The secretariat was not exempted. It was in terms of the capability to be able to write the report. So, like I said, initially we thought we would have report writers to assist, but it became clear that was not the case. So, dealing with the secretariat, we knew what could be done and what could not be done. This is from working together for so long. So,
are you telling this committee that members of the secretariat that were hired were incompetent to actually do the work?
No, I'm not saying they're not competent, but when it comes to report writing, I think this is not something that a lot of people can do. So the ones they had there, because we didn't hire them, these came from MOJ and whichever ministries that they were coming from.
But they're still paid to do a work
Yes.
for the commission.
Yes, and most of them.
One would expect when they were hiring the members of the secretariat, competence and capability was going to be something that is going to be considered.
Sure.
Reflecting on the process of oversight.
Why was it an oversight from whose angle?
I would in fact say from the commission.
But the commission were not responsible for choosing the people that came under the secretariat.
But the commission was making decisions as to who they think they can work with and who they think they couldn't work with.
Honorable, if I may comment, please, just to set the records. You know the secretariat is appointed by MOJ. The secretariat, the commissioners are appointed by the president. And the secretariat is an arm appointed by MOJ to do a work. Now, if they are incompetent to do the work, that should be the responsibility of MOJ to take care of, but not the commissioners directly. If you have me.
Chair.
Yeah, I think that's
Chair, allow me. This is very simple. When the commission realized they couldn't work to MOJ.
I think you're talking about issue of report
no,
writing.
Even if I'm talking about the report writing, Now I am also aligning it to how the secretary was sacked from his position. And following the reports, it is clearly stated, even by the former justice minister before us, that he acted because the members of the commission did said to him that they cannot or they couldn't work with the then secretary, which influenced the decision of the Ministry of Justice to really relieve the then secretary from his position. So for me,
All right, no, it's okay.
for me, having commissioners and also the lead counsel presiding over a report, and in fact writing a report, what really influenced that? Was there anything that the commission was trying to hide?
I think to answer your question, you made a statement that the former Attorney General said, the commissioners said they couldn't work with the then secretary. And I think a question was asked before. And I said to you that I do not believe that the commissioners had anything to say to that. When we were invited to the Attorney General's office, we were informed. And for me, it is not about you asking me my opinion. A decision had already been taken. I felt the AG at that time was just informing us. Because the words he used was that the situation was not tenable. So if you are saying that we took a decision to sack the former secretary, that I do not agree to that, because no one said that.
Ms. Joy,
Yes.
this is not something that I said. This was something said by the former Minister of Justice, that he acted simply because he was informed by the members of the commission that they couldn't work with the then secretary. If only otherwise, like you have rightly said now that, or earlier that, you were not a party to that and you didn't subscribe to that, would that mean what the former Minister of Justice informed this committee was inconsistent?
Okay, I'm going by what was discussed at the meeting. And as far as I recall, this is what transpired. Maybe he had a prior conversation with the chair, because I am aware of there are times when he has done that in the past. But at that meeting, it was not even a long meeting. What we are informed that a decision had been taken because the situation was not tenable. So if the former AG says otherwise, I cannot speak on his behalf. I can only speak what I know.
Ms. George, let's get back to your previous response, which you said, after interacting with the members of the Secretariat, you realize there was a gap in terms of having personnel who could write a report. At what point in time in the process of your work do you realize this gap?
Yeah, this was towards the latter part, because in around September, because before we even had that, we had had various meetings about the format of the report, how the report should be broken down into volumes, what it should cover. So we had several working sessions from that, even from the first secretary. So we had had various meetings or discussions on that. But in terms of the Secretariat staff, the way the Secretariat was, we knew that it was not going to be possible for them to write, and we were being put under a lot of pressure to complete. So we had to take it upon ourselves to write the report. It's either that or nothing happens. So the Secretariat staff would assist us in terms of when we need information, they will bring it to us. But then that was practically what happened. There's nothing to hide. These are evidence-based. There's really nothing to hide on that.
So was part of your responsibility meant for you to write a report in between the members of the commission and the Secretariat? who were responsible for the report writing?
Yeah, because there's no clear, that's what I'm saying, there's no clear where it's documented. Based on our working sessions, it is discussed and said that usually they have a report writing team that will write the report under the secretariat. This was not there. So in that situation, then what do you do? So we have to come up with something to be able to deal with that.
So is it right to say there was no organized structure within the commission in order to determine who was responsible for what, or who was supposed to execute what and at what level?
No, I wouldn't say that there was no structure. There was a structure.
Then what was wrong?
No, but it's I think honorable. What you're trying to put words in my mouth, and I don't want you to put words in my mouth.
No, this is why I give an open question.
Yeah. So you have to allow me to also land. What I am saying is there was a secretariat, and I know that even the then secretary, Mr. Kurang, developed an organogram. So he had those were to be responsible for exhibits. They split into tasks. But even when it came to even writing of letters, sometimes, like I said, we had a working office. We would draft our own letters and give it to them. Because at the same time, we also knew, because otherwise you're going back and forth, which we did not have that time. So when it came to the point, we all realized that there's no report writers. Because we were initially thinking that people would be hired. That's the understanding we had, that you'll have report writers to write the various volumes. And then obviously we will review for factual consistencies because we did the work. We realized that it was not going to happen. So then that is when the reports were shared based on people's competencies. And then obviously it's reviewed and so on. That is exactly what happened.
Okay, we can progress.
Yes, please.
In your statement, again in clause 18, you mentioned that funds were appropriated or transferred to the TRRC and the CRC.
Yes.
Already we knew how much was transferred to the TRRC. Can you inform this committee how much was weighed or transferred to the CRC and for what purpose, if you know?
I know there's correspondence to that effect, but I cannot remember the exact amounts from the top of my head. But I do know that the request came from Ministry of Finance that they needed some money to set up the TRRC and CRC. So the request came, and then the commissioners met over the letter that was sent to us. And I recall lead counsel was there as well. So we had a discussion on that. And I do remember even at that meeting, some of us did not agree with that, because some of us felt that the view is we should wait till the end. We transfer the entire sum in bulk, what is in the account, to government. So, but then the agreement at the end was that we give them what was requested. There's correspondence to that effect. I cannot remember, but I know they ended up taking from the Dalasi and the dollar account that was being maintained.
And this happened at the same time, that is to transfer to the TRRC and the CRC.
Yeah, it was handled by, because the commission never handled the account.
No, I understand that, but the decision to make those transfers was at some point influenced by the commission.
Yes, yes.
Right, yeah?
Yes.
So this is why I wanted to know whether these two transfers both happened at the same time.
Yes, because I know the accountant general sent confirmation afterwards of what they had done, transferring the monies.
Will it be right to say the TRRC and the CRRC both received the same amount?
No, I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know how finance wanted to split it. We have no information on that. It was just a request for so much money.
Okay. Also, when you were responding to my colleague, you did mention about Mr. Bazi, who was a close associate of the former president.
Sure.
Do you have an idea, or do you know how much was found in his account, and also what were some of the assets that were seized from him, including movable items?
This is Mr. Bazi, you mean? Yeah, in terms of the bank accounts, what is there? I don't know. I cannot, if I was to tell you a figure, I have no idea. But in terms of assets, I know he had shares. There were companies where he had a lot of shares. But I don't know the full details of what he had.
Do you know if he owned any property that is different from a company, per se, like a compound, for example?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
The minerals. You
HMC.
Yes, you also talked about minerals when you were responding to my colleague. Could you inform this committee in terms of minerals, what was found with Mr. Bazi, especially the deposits that he left behind and other equipments that were related to the mining of minerals?
Yeah, in terms of the HMC, we had, from what I recall, we had limited information on that because I recall there was a letter that came in that HMC was identified, I think in Sanyang or something. And they wanted to dispose of it. I remember that it was even a letter from Ministry of Justice on that. So that is when we even got to know of the HMC product. Yes, because we were not even aware of that initially.
Chair, I think it will be important to really obtain a statement from Bazi in relation to minerals, even though we don't have the time. We need to endeavor, because looking at the report from the commission, it seems they have done very limited work around the minerals. And for us to be informed, I want to apply that we obtain. I'll be more official about.
I think this this individual was working together with the Ministry of Lands. He was at the Ministry of Land. That's what I understand. That they were like an understudy to help. So then, when the request was made by the commission for assistance from the Ministry of Lands on these valuations, I know particularly Banjul and some others. Yes, then that is when this guy was part of the team together with other officials of Ministry of Lands.
Okay. So, in terms of expertise, is he evaluator?
Yes, I think that's why he was at Lands, because he was at Lands. They provided, he came with them. Yes.
He could be at Lands on the basis of advising the government on policies without an actual expertise on land valuation. Because we also had a receiver who sat on that seat, who at some point we realized never relied on the valuation report made by the Jammeh Commission, which I suspect the report was developed by this UN volunteer.
No, but based on the understanding we had, the guy is he's here on a technical expertise and he's a valuer. So that's the understanding we had, yes. Because there were detailed reports on each property that a valuation was done. They submitted valuation reports. So these should all be in the commission's documents. They definitely submit.
Distance. That is Alpha Capital. So it wouldn't be fair to ask you a question around that person, because we realize he never used this report And for us, you know, it creates more of doubt than clarity, having a commission appointing or sourcing the expertise of an individual to do evaluation for them, and at the end of the day, that report was not heed to by a receiver. However, we can definitely progress. In paragraph 15 or clause 15, you talked about Augustus Prom and Co., the receiver, right?
Yes.
And I understand at some point the commission met with Mr. Prom to discuss on pricing or on the commission. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us more? What was the discussion about? And also the outcome of the discussion in terms of renegotiating his commission.
Okay. So during, but then we also felt they already have been working on the receivership, so it's appropriate to also add these two, which we did. An order was given as well for them to act as the receiver manager for the hotels. So they would send reports and so on, progress reports. So the commission got information that Augustus Prom was paying itself 10% of the gross revenue per month.
Ask, was he paying himself or there was a court order that stipulates how much he was supposed to be paid percentage-wise? Can we distinguish these two?
Yes, there was a court order that said that they should be paid, I think, 10%, but that was for the properties that were identified under the court order. In this case, these properties were handed over to them by the commission. So the order that the commission gave did not stipulate the percentage, which should have been done at that time to come to an agreement. It was not done. So they paid themselves a 10%, which the commission was notified of. So the commission invited them for a meeting, which they attended. Now, during the meeting, it was put to them that they were paying themselves 10% of the gross commission, which we felt was high, and justification was made to support their action, which we felt was high. And then the right thing to do was to come back to the commission to ask to agree on the fees, which was not done. So they put a justification. So we still said we don't agree with that. And we gave, after the meeting, the commission wrote to them, giving them an offer. This was rejected by them in their subsequent letter. And so then another order came where it was the receivership was stopped and given to somebody else.
And why was that not done from the word go to clearly stipulate how much were supposed to be his commission?
Yeah, that's why I said it's an oversight. But if something is not done, doesn't mean that you should also pay yourself.
It was an oversight.
Yes.
But then the consequence of that oversight seems that Augustus Prom was receiving $1 million per month as a commission. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. It's roughly around that, I think. But
Roughly
I know that
around
it was. I cannot be specific per month what they will pay them, but I know it was based on 10% of gross revenue.
Miss George,
Yes.
can you look at the third line of your statement?
Yes.
Paragraph 15.
Yes, I know. I
Because
said
here you are
1
very,
million.
on your statement,
Yes.
you are very specific on the 1 million per month.
Yes, that's what we were told at that time.
Yes, so
Yes.
if you are saying you are not sure,
No, no, no. You know, it can be revenue. When you say gross, that's why I was very specific. If you say 10% of gross revenue, it depends on your sales. But then at the time of the meeting was roughly around 1 million. So that's why I put that there. And it's some of the questions, it's based on the way the questions are asked.
yeah, but this one
I'm being
is,
specific to you.
yeah,
Yes.
no, I'm not saying you are not being
Yes.
specific. If I have to be honest to you, I find you to be one of the most consistent witnesses that I actually interacted with.
Okay.
Not because you are sitting before me. I
Oh,
say
yeah.
things the way they are.
I like that, yes.
So I think we, based on how
The right statement to make.
Yes, I think what she meant to say, you know, 10% of the total revenue that they collected for the month, is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So now, what she's referring to, you understand? So it can be just 10%. I know she specifically mentioned 1 million. I understand that. But
Chair,
think
can
she's
I
not-
help you again?
No, what I'm saying is,
No, let me just help you here.
no,
What she is saying, I would also appreciate if you can reference what she wrote.
no, I asked you, I said,
To be asked. She is here to
No,
be
no,
asked.
I'm
This
trying
is
to-
why I'm asking her
Honorable.
to point. This is
Yes,
what I don't
exactly.
want you to end
No.
when I'm definitely trying to get
10% of the total revenue. So I'm trying to correct that to say, yes, 10% of anything that they collected for the month is what she's referring to.
Chair,
I think that is clear.
I'm not disputing to that.
No, Honorable, don't do that, please. Let's
No,
progress. I think what I said is, I have not said anything wrong. Don't do that, please.
Chair, I'm not saying you have said anything wrong. What I am saying,
No, but my intervention is not to stop you from asking the question. Please, don't do that. What I said was very correct. I said 10% of.
leave you to ask her that question to provide us clarity. My mic is off. I will allow you to have that interpretation. Because I know what I am looking for. I definitely know what I am looking for. And I have read in between the lines. I'm not saying you are stopping me. My point here is,